Welcome to Herf Zone Live, the show that is unlike any other cigar show, where we have the most eclectic lineup of guests, of which some smoke cigars and some who don't. Either way, we bring you the best content weekly. Herf Zone Live is sponsored by StogieLives.com. If you're looking for an awesome alternative to typical social media, you got to head over to StogieLives.com. It is an awesome platform, brand new just for cigar smokers. So check it out and see why everyone is talking about StogieLives.com. And if you look at the links down in the description on YouTube and Facebook, uh, Team Shirtless Mike and Herfstone Live, we're partnering up with Stogie Press and Ace Prime Cigars to raise money for the people of Jalapa, Nicaragua. It's an ongoing fundraiser, and there's more information that Boston Jimmy put on Stogie Press in the article. If you click it, and then that will take you where you can see the progress on everything. And if you feel led, go ahead and give a couple dollars and all that good stuff. So I hope everybody is having an awesome night tonight. So tonight I'm smoking a Lido Gomez. I forgot which one it is. It's from La Flor Dominicana. Awesome cigar so far. All that good stuff. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro, and then we're going to introduce our guest and all that good stuff. So stay tuned, y'all.
Long pants today. It was a cold one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When it gets to 55, it's no longer shirtless season. That's when people start giving me shit because I'm like wearing a jacket. Sometimes, if it's too cold, I'll wear a couple jackets. They're like, I don't recognize you. You're wearing too many clothes. So.
Well, it is weird to see you hanging out in the whereby room with the shirt on, though. I do have to say.
Oh yeah. I mean, during this is the shirtless season, and just a little bit, it's gonna become hoodie season, double jacket season, all that. So.
Nice. Well, I am, since you introduced what you were smoking, I am smoking the My Father the Judge box press Toro. So nice. I wanted to go with something a little spicier tonight.
Oh yeah, this is my first time. This is my first time smoking this one. And
how is it?
It's pretty good. I should have wrote down exactly. I know it's Lido Gomez and it's got a 10 on there, so it's like I guess I forget, but anyway, my buddy Rob, who's a frequent flyer at the shop, he gave it to me. So I mean, it's awesome, and I told him I'll give him a little shout out and all that. So he may be watching, he may not. Everybody knows about the show, so they'll catch it whenever. But yeah, we're gonna get started here in this interview. Like I'm starting to go more off the cuff, without a whole bunch of notes. So we'll just get started here from the very beginning. So, are you originally from Colorado?
No, I'm actually from Illinois, south side of Chicago. Born and raised, and then kind of moved on to Central Illinois. And then my wife and I, when we got married, we came out to Breckenridge for our honeymoon, and we decided that that's where we wanted to end up. So about almost a year to the day, I've been in sales all my life and didn't like the job I was currently working at all. So my wife said, do what you do. If you get a job out there, we'll figure it out. Well, like 3 weeks later, I said, so we have a month and a half to move out there. And yeah, man, we went furnitureless from like literally furnitureless. We had a blow up mattress that my cat kept popping. And then we had, it had about 8 patches in it. And then I had my TV, and that's it. We had that from October 8th is when I brought my wife over through February, end of February.
See, a lot of people, man, they don't know about that struggle like that. Like I've been there before, my first apartment before I got, found some furniture for like the cheap. I just had like, I had like one like little chair or whatever, and then I had my bed, and that was it. So I was able to fill it up, man, and you start small, you just work your way up, man. That's what it's all about.
Well, we had furniture. I just didn't have the money it cost to get it here from Illinois. So
Yeah.
we
Oh
had to
yeah.
rent a truck. Like that's not cheap, and
Hell no.
leaving Illinois was expensive.
Oh yeah. So like, what's like the major differences like between Illinois and Colorado? Like the cost of live is the cost of living. Is there much of a difference in that? Is it cheaper to live in Illinois or Colorado?
So it's definitely cheaper depending on where you live. Obviously Chicago can be more expensive or is more expensive than Denver. But as far as where I've lived, it would definitely be cheaper to stay in Illinois, but Illinois sucks. I mean, nothing against anybody that living there still. Where I lived in central Illinois after we moved out of Chicago, it was nothing but cornfields. You drive 2 hours, you feel like you're still seeing the same cornfield.
Yeah.
And so, cost is relative. I'd say it's probably about 10 to 12% more to live in Colorado as a whole. But there are things in Colorado that are cheaper. For some reason, our gas use out here is less. So it kind of balances itself out. Food's a little bit less expensive in Colorado at times, and but Illinois just costs a lot because Illinois sucks. And if you want to buy a house in Illinois, you're talking buku bucks on the taxes. So it just didn't wasn't where we wanted to be when we were actually raising our family.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And this was like kind of like recent within like the past couple of years. And then did you move to Colorado or?
It's 2016, October of 16.
Okay, so it's been a few years. So
Yeah.
So you're semi newly transplanted. Okay, cool. Now, how did you like initially like get into cigars? How long have you been smoking cigars?
So I've been smoking cigars. I mean, I was a cigarette smoker for 20 years. I've been smoking cigars off and on for most of my adult life. And I never really fully started to appreciate them to the level I have until honestly I quit smoking cigarettes and started going cigars full time. So it just wasn't the same for me anymore. Cigarettes just didn't have the same flavor complexities and little nuances in there. And so I got hooked even harder and just decided that, all right, now's the time. Plus, my wife and I both quit smoking cigarettes or decided to try October of last year. So that way we could focus, when my wife was pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you just had your daughter.
Yep.
So what's it like being a new father at this point? Your first child. What's that like?
Um, I don't know that I've got enough rest to fully explain. It is tiring. I'll be honest with you. My wife and I have gone through our ups and downs in the 10 years that we've been together. And this is the most challenging aspect of our marriage thus far. It's tried both of us, and we've come out of it very well, and we've come out of it learning a lot more about each other than we knew going into it. I think, as far as the ability to forgive one or the ability to just kind of let certain things go, and I think that's key because the first few months of having a baby, yeah, you've got a baby, but you're just changing it. You're feeding it. It's crying because it's either hot, cold, hungry. There's no reason to it. I've actually found that I've had more growth as a husband in these first 3 months, and I think my wife has as a wife, than either of us have had as a parent. If that makes any sense at all. I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of my my big takeaway from it. And it's challenging. It's very challenging. But it's definitely more challenging on my wife and I than it is necessarily, my daughter.
Yeah, definitely. And as time goes on, you're just gonna keep, things, different stages and everything. It's just gonna keep on.
Yes.
They say it gets easier. It really doesn't. I don't have any kids, but from everyone that I know that has kids, they say it gets easier, but it really doesn't. It's just the problems just keep getting bigger and bigger, and you just finagling through life, just trying to figure it all out. So.
So, real quick, you asked me, what is it like being like a father? And I'll tell you, the one thing I have found out about actually being a father is how quickly you become attached to that little life.
Oh yeah.
Like within hours of her being born, doctors, nurses were coming in, poking her. Like it's probably 16, 18 hours later, my wife and I get her settled down. And then all of a sudden, the whole room erupts and nurses coming in with scales and this, and they're poking her foot, taking her blood, and they just leave and she's screaming.
Yeah.
The next person that came in, I literally was like, listen, I don't mind what you guys do, but you're going to tell us what you're going to do. Like, you guys just ran in here and ran out just saying hi and bye. And my daughter's, all I know is that she was quiet and now she's screaming. So that stops. And after that, they were like, all right, so we're going to do this for this blood, this. She's going to be upset about this. So that's definitely something I realized is, within hours, it was like, don't, it's my daughter. Like, don't touch her. I'm going to jump you, that's different,
Oh yeah, yeah. That paternal instinct, man. It kicks in. And you're just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, and then it just keeps growing from there. So, a lot of people know you. You do your show, the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. You do YouTube reviews and everything. So, what kind of got you into that? Like, why did you decide that you wanted to get on YouTube and just delve into like the cigar media or whatever, however you want to classify yourself? Like as a reviewer and like host of a show. Like, how did you get into all that, and how long have you been doing that now?
Yeah, so I started my first show in January, and honestly, it was because I was working from home. I was bored out of my mind. And I watch a lot of cigar shows, and I was like, you know what, I'd like to see what I can do. Maybe I could pull something off. Worst comes to worst, I'm doing it for myself. It'll be fun for me. And down the road, if 10 people or so subscribe, I'll be like, yes, 10 people care what I think. And hey, how you doing, Brian? And so I just decided to sit out in my backyard with a fire, with a propane fire pit, huddled around it with a coat and a hoodie, and just went for it. And first show was just awful. First few shows were just
I can
terrible.
relate. I can definitely relate. Go back and watch some of my old shows.
But I've been doing this since January, and I've had the ability to get to meet a lot of very interesting people and great friends like yourself and fun people in the industry. I mean, I get to actually smoke the cigars by the friends that I know because they make the cigars that I smoke. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to be able to be like, hey, I can call up Eric Espinosa and he's going to be, hey brother, and I guess as like kind of somebody that geeks out on the cigar world, like that's kind of fun that I can interact with Matt Booth and have him come on, and Terrence Riley and everybody that's been on. I've had Dennis Prager was fun, so definitely my show is going to be evolving from much more of a it'll always have the reviews, but I think I want to try to get more into the weekly show of it. I like that format a little bit more. I love the reviews. I'll always do them, But I think if I had to cut down on one aspect of the show as time goes on, it would be doing a little less of the reviews. Kind of
Yeah.
taking one out of Cigar Props book and kind of just doing every once in a while and just give
Yeah.
away a ton of shit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because what I basically did, I've always had my show. My show is separate from making regular videos, and I just started getting kind of busy. So I always make sure I have my show because that's a constant. Because I've been doing this since September 23rd of last year. It's coming up on 1 year. Let's see what this week actually. Today's
2 days.
2 days. It will be officially be 1 year that that I've been doing Herf Zone live. So you know appreciate that, brother. And yes, so doing regular videos, like, that's more time consuming than like doing something like this. So I'd rather put out quality content, like as in interviewing people and all that. So that's something I could definitely relate to that, and all that. Now, when you do your reviews, like, what's something like that you've learned, like, about yourself, or maybe like about cigars, like if you don't like a cigar or whatever, like, how do you tend to handle that?
So, okay, I kind of do things probably maybe a little bit different than some of the others. At least some of the stuff I've seen. Um, I never trash a cigar, and here's exactly why. There's a lot of cigars out there that I don't smoke. However, that are, we'll just call it gateway cigars into the cigar world. I think you and I are probably thinking of one right off the top of our head. I don't necessarily smoke that style of cigar.
Hmm.
However, who am I to trash a cigar that somebody loves and maybe then changes their opinion? What I would rather do is show them additional cigars that I don't even really say too much in the show that, oh my gosh, I love this. This is the best cigar I've ever had. I do. You can tell when I really like a cigar, of course, but I do try to keep as much of the, oh, this is fantastic. I never say this is box worthy. I don't give a score. I just try to maybe open other people's opinions to cigars they've never tried before.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like what I do, because obviously, and I'm not even gonna say like any brand. I'll just say
Same here.
infused cigars. In general, we have a whole humidor of infused cigars. That's probably one of our number one sellers. Like,
Hmm.
somebody somebody bought a like a box. We didn't have any of that, a full box or whatever. There was like six left in the box. They bought it right off the shelf. It's like they go for that.
Of
But
course.
but I still try to get people to branch out a little bit. Like, that's part of the thing. You have to sell that style of cigar, and just be honest. Like, hey, I don't smoke this, but this is what people tend to like, who enjoy this. It's just all about helping people branch out too.
Absolutely. And like I said, for me, it's not worth it for me to get into a pissing contest with a cigar company either. Like, I
Yeah.
want to be friends with these guys. I don't
Hmm.
want to be, I know there's some reviewers out there that I know are very hard on cigars. And it's, I try to find the good in any cigar I can. Because I do think, and that's where I try to keep my opinion out of it as much as possible, if I certainly can, and just try to talk about tasty notes,
Yeah.
retro hail, smoke feel, output, that type of stuff. Um, yeah, I'm just not into the business of. I've got nothing to prove. I'm not into the business of trashing cigars.
Yeah. And I don't think, like, there's you know, I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that may trash a cigar. There's probably a few out there, but for the people that review cigars that I personally know, that they think a lot like you.
Sure, a lot
They're
of them
not
do.
they're not gonna trash the cigar, but I know, like, I used to be a part of Stogie Press with Boston Jimmy, and even though I was not a reviewer, I was very deep, in his process, which he has, publicly, like his criteria. He's got like 3 articles just about the criteria, And if he finds like a fault, like he's not talking like, the flavor of the cigar, because that's very subjective. He's talking about the way the cigar burns, performs, etc. If he constantly has issues, he actually goes directly to that manufacturer if the issues are severe enough. Like, look, you know he basically he doesn't want samples, like, from the trade show. He wants the cigar, the final product of the cigar, that the consumer is going to get, because that's going to give the most accurate representation of how that cigar is going to perform, to give the most accurate. And I think even Coop did away from that too, like using samples, because people always accuse, people, that do reviews of, like, when they go to the show, like, oh, sample, sample, I just want the samples, blah blah blah. Well, they want the cigar, the final product, so they can give a more accurate, review. I'm pretty sure you're the same way. You're sponsored by Smoking. I'm sure you know, you have some leeway there to get a hold of some stuff to review and all that. I don't know what your
Well,
arrangement is.
yeah. So like I usually, you know, Abe is so kind. I don't try to take advantage of that. I pretty much, if I'm getting something, I'm paying for it. Outside of, he does sponsor me in the way of the monthly club. But I try not to. I have asked him for a few, and he's been kind enough to give it. But I try to make sure I'm not taking advantage of that in any way. So I take the same approach. If I buy one of the cigars I'm going to review, one, I don't do a redo. This is as if I walked into a humidor and grabbed one cigar. And whether I'm getting it online or I'm getting it in my own, personal brick and mortar, um, that's how I do it. And if it sucks and it doesn't smoke right, then I don't review it. Or maybe down the road I wrap it back into my list somehow. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it too.
Awesome. Now, how did you get hooked up with with Smoking and getting sponsored by them and all that stuff? How tell me how it all began and all that good stuff.
So I just called Abe. Well, called him on Facebook Messenger, if you want to say, and sent him a message. Reached out to him, and yeah, we started talking. It was around the Great Smoke, and so he was a little busy. He told me to reach back out to him about a month later, and reached out to him. Had a great conversation with him, and then we kind of just talked about a few details and moved forward. Um, I'll tell you, one of the things that Abe did tell me right off the bat was, you took the hardest step, which is just asking. Most people don't ask. I didn't. I don't even think I had 100 subscribers when
Hmm.
I reached out to him. Um, and I just picked up another, which we'll be announcing at the end of the month. But I just picked up another really big show sponsor as well, and it's just you ask for it.
Yeah.
You put out a good product. I've interviewed enough people at this point in time that people in the industry know I'm a solid guy. I don't play the gotcha games. I'm not trying to, pull an end run around somebody. And yeah, just that's it. Just
That's
be
the way to be,
liked.
man. You don't got nothing but your word in your balls. You don't break them from nobody.
Scarface, absolutely. That's the way it works.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. And even me, like, the small bit of sponsorships that I have, like, I'm trying to, wait to get bigger sponsors, just the way I feel, so I get like I just reached 400 subscribers on YouTube finally. And so, just as as I keep growing, like, I want to make sure I'm consistently putting out a great product. Now I'm actually like work for a shop, so it's like I'm now in the cigar industry full time. So, um I'm just building. I've I've been doing it a few months longer than you, but at the same time, everyone has their own vision for everything. And so my thing is, I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to grow too fast. I just want to be consistent with it.
You know, um, Kevin Shahan's a good friend of mine and
Same here.
a mentor of mine in this, and I reached out to him one time. I was just hitting, I think, 200, and I texted him, and I'm like, dude, I'm 15 shy of 200. Like, how do I just get this faster? He goes, you know, slow and steady wins the race. If you get too big too quick,
Yeah.
he goes, you fall very, very hard. He goes, just build it up slowly. And ever since I've been taking that approach, I'm like, I think I'm at 365, 367 myself. So
Catching up
just,
to me now.
yeah, hey, whoever's watching, jump over Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Please click subscribe. And absolutely, that's it's kind of the fun of it. It's not like you get paid per subscription, but it certainly
Yeah.
makes you feel good when you see it get built up.
But once you get to like 1,000 subscribers and over that, like people start paying a lot more attention. You'll have people start to reach out to you more and you get, and then once it reaches past 1,000, people start really paying attention. That's just what I keep hearing. So
Well, I think people pay attention if you're worth paying attention to.
no, exactly.
And that's what's been a lot of fun is, I've watched guys that have been at this longer than me with, a little bit different style of show, and it's been just fun to kind of be like people like the show. You've got 400 now. It's fun to be like people. 400 people said they want to watch me whenever I'm live or whenever I'm on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're very well known. I know this in the industry. Anybody in the industry knows you. So like, yeah, it big being able to meet celebrities like yourself is one of the perks of kind of doing what I do.
Yeah, I feel the same way, like even though I don't call myself a celebrity, I just more so say like I'm a cigar lifestyle advocate or, cigar personality or whatever, because, obviously, you're only known in like such a small group and not even by every last person in the cigar world, even though you know, a bunch of people know who I am, know who you are and all that, but I hate to use that term celebrity because it's a little bit of a big word for the situation, but it is what it is though. But so since you started your YouTube channel and your show and everything, like what's been like a wow moment for you? Like, like have you walked into any like shops and be like, hey, that's Ryan Miller, stuff like that, or somebody that you didn't think was like really watching, like reached out to you? Like, have you had any of those wow moments?
Yeah, actually, we were at my local lounge, and honestly, if my neighbor Jeff and Laura weren't with me, nobody would believe me. There was probably about 400 people there throughout the whole day, and it was a huge event. There was 15 manufacturers were there, and that's actually where shout out to McAuliffe. It's actually where I got my McAuliffe coin.
Nice.
And so I had probably like 20, 30 people walk up to me and be like, hey, you're Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. You're right. I had one person take a picture with me. And I'm like, really? Like, oh, okay. Like and again, it's not that I'm known. Like as far as notoriety is concerned,
it makes you feel good
yeah,
that people are actually paying attention.
absolutely. And it was a lot of guys from the Colorado Facebook page that I'm on, cigar page. I post my videos too that are always commenting. And no, I've met a lot of really interesting and fun people in the cigar world doing this and being noticed that one time. It's only happened to me one time, but being noticed that one time was, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of builds your ego a bit.
Oh yeah, no, it does. It does. That's why I just try to remain humble into the earth and all that. But uh, earlier this year, I think it was like in May or whatever. A friend of mine, they booked me to go to South Carolina, and I covered, this event that was out there or whatever. And there was on the day two, it was like a pool party. So after I've stayed with another friend who didn't get into town yet, so I had to switch hotels, and it was like right by where the pool party was. So once I got settled and everything, I did a couple videos. Then I was walking around shirtless, and people were like, "Yo, shirtless Mike, shirtless Mike!" Like people were buying me drinks and all that. And before that, I had to wait. I was at my friend's lounge that he works at, and I was just sitting there, and this lady pulls up, and she's like, and then she's like, "Oh my God, you're shirtless, man! I gotta get a picture with you." And so it's that's how you know like you're really getting out there when you go to like the major events and all that. Like if you go to like the Great Smoke, hopefully you're going to the Great Smoke next year, right?
I'm hoping to. However, it kind of depends, obviously, with my daughter.
Yeah.
She should, she'll be. Was it Great Smokes February, right?
Yep.
So she'll be like,
It's my birthday week. It's that weekend. So it's the 28th or so,
yeah. So she'll
27th and
be,
the 28th or something like that.
yeah. So I mean, she'll be like 7, 8 months. So maybe we'll see. I'd love to go. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Yeah, cause I'm starting off all the parties this year at the West Palm store. So when I was there a month ago, I talked with Abe, got the plans down. So they normally start their pre-parties on Thursday. Well, I'm throwing my official birthday bash on Wednesday. It's the day after my actual birthday, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm starting off all the official parties this year. So if you can make it, you got to get there on Wednesday because I'm starting off the weekend. You know. And of course, I got to have my boy in the building with me. Got to have all my peoples. Got to try to get everybody there.
Hey, dude, if I could, I absolutely will. I saw you make that post, and I know you're heading up to smoke in what next weekend too,
No, well, it's a couple weeks from now,
or a
but
couple weeks.
yeah.
Uh, but no, I'd love to get up there. I was really hoping Zonapalooza was going to be live event this year. I was going to try to make that as well, but I think he's going virtual on that one.
Yeah, last year they did like a Zoom Herf or whatever. It was crazy. There was a lot of people on there, and I I didn't go on there. There were so many in 2020. There were so many like virtual herfs and all that. And then like the job I was doing like didn't have work for an extended period of time, and it was just like it was craziness. Like I literally had, like every minute of the day I was like on a virtual herf, and for a while I kind of got burnt out on it. I was like, I just need to smoke alone a little bit. Like they say never smoke alone, but sometimes you just got to smoke alone a little bit. So.
Hey, Dojo Boys, they're in my backyard.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that.
Do you ever
That's
meet up with them or go to any of their
no,
events?
no. Unfortunately, no. I've talked to Eric a few times, but no, they're like I think 20 minutes from my brick and mortar is where they shoot the show or something like that. The way I was explained it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, there definitely be some good people because they put out great content and everything, and some good people to get around once you get the chance. So outside of reviewing cigars and stuff like that, like what are some brands that you just personally enjoy? Like what's your go-to, and then from there, like what all do you like to smoke typically?
so I usually stay in the fuller body category, medium plus to fuller. Um, I'd say my go-to brands at this point in time, because it changes a little bit, but at this point in time, Espinosa, Protocol. I like the real peppery stuff. I like Nicaraguan tobacco a lot. My father, Placencia. Um, but I enjoy CLE as well. Caldwell's always a great brand. I know the rep pretty well, but if I'd have to put my finger on it and say the ones that I'm digging on most would be Espinosa and Protocol.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just went to a S&M smoke shop on Saturday, and I picked up a few protocols. So I got this. What is it?
Lancero.
Probable cause Lancero.
Now I've had the Toro in that, and or is it the Toro? No, yeah, that one came in the Toro. It was the cyber crimes that came in the Churchill,
Yeah,
and that's a great cigar. I've never had the Lancero. Lancero's my favorite size,
I think I've
but
only
that's a good one.
smoked the Lancero probable cause. Like I've smoked a few of their stuff, but there used to be some protocol at one of the shops that I go to, Executive Cigar Shop and Lounge in downtown Melbourne, and I was trying to get him to bring it back or whatever, but I don't know, it may not have done that well, or they just brought it in. I don't know the whole situation. I'm not gonna put words in Tony's mouth, but because he was a good friend. But so when I went to S&M Smoke Shop, they call it the Fort. It's in Fort Pierce, which is like an hour from where I live. So went over there after work, and Distinguished Ruffians were there. So I know some friends that are part of that. My buddy, I don't know if you know Dak. You can't miss him if you've seen him. They call him the mayor, real big guy, awesome guy. That's his home shop, and like if you've seen him, you really would know it's him. He's a real big guy. He's got a brush cut. They call him the mayor, awesome guy. And then my friend Princess J, she was there. Derek Dukes, he's a former professional wrestler, and he's also a protocol rep here in Florida. And just was hanging out with a bunch of people, met a lot of cool people. It's almost like a home environment. I don't think they have any smoke eaters though, so they have like the back door open and they got TVs. It was a cool spot. So
Well, dude, you live in the mecca for cigars. I mean, there's what Pennsylvania, Florida, and Texas.
Arizona too. Arizona's got a lot of cigar growth.
It does. It has a lot of cigar growth, but I still think your manufacturers, though, are primarily Texas, PA, and Florida. Florida's just
Florida's the number one as far as
yeah,
manufacturers go. You got all the main,
sure.
cigar manufacturers down south, whether it be in Miami or anywhere by Miami, they got offices down there. So, and then of course, like Roma Crafts in Texas, a few other like small boutiques, and then Pennsylvania has more. They got like CI, Best Cigar Prices, Famous, all that. So now, what's the culture like? What's the smoking culture like? Like, are there any like weird laws like when it comes to cigars in Colorado? I keep hearing mixed stuff. Like, it's like what's all that like over there?
So, cigars in Colorado are definitely more expensive. I think we have a 50% sales tax on tobacco now. Nothing like what they're trying to pass over in Congress to put almost 1,000% sales tax on it. But it's not California. Our problem here in Colorado is we're so far spread out, and there's just not. There's too many healthy people that live here.
Mm.
In the sense that a lot of them just don't smoke. Like we have a decent sized community, but you go to the East Coast and there's a lot more cigar smokers over there. California is, I'm pretty sure, even less cigar smokers than Colorado probably, but there's more shops but Colorado's a tough territory too. So there's just not a whole lot of mass wide scale variety for sure.
Mm. Yeah, because here in Florida, it's pretty much we just have regular sales tax, no extra cigar tax and all that. Like Florida is like you know, probably like the most cigar friendly spot.
Yeah, the other thing too is you guys have a wider variety of cigars down there.
Oh yeah.
The way I've had it explained, you go to Miami, it's Miami cigar lounge like Starbucks. They're just at every street corner.
Oh yeah. Like
And You just have a more
especially
of a variety.
Cayocho.
Cayocho?
Yeah, Cayocho, which is like little Havana. I've only been down there once. I've been to Florida my whole life, but I've only been to Miami like twice, and I went to little Havana one time for my 28th 29th birthday, something like that. And that was a great experience, a lot of fun. You definitely got to know Spanish if you live in Miami.
South Beach?
I did go to South Beach, and it's the place that I went to. Somebody that I knew was managing that place at the time, and it's like real upscale. I felt out of place because I was not dressed for an upscale environment, but they still accepted us there and everything. But we just sat outside. I was wearing like flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, and but the only thing about South Beach, you got to pay to park everywhere, like everywhere. It was freaking annoying. But that's
Dude,
and it
that's
took
where it is in all the cities. Denver's the same way. It's
yeah.
terrible.
I know Orlando, like certain areas downtown or whatever, like on Sundays, you could park for free. Because I went to Corona in downtown Orlando when before I had to pick up my brother from the airport, and I parked. It was up the street. I had to walk a little bit, but I definitely found a spot open, and it was free parking. Even if it's a meter, like on Sundays, it's free parking. So I was like, thank God. I hate paying for parking. So like outside of like your local shop, like where are some of your other favorite places to smoke? Like do you have a room in your house? Is that where you're sitting at right now? Is that like your man cave type thing, or is it
No,
your garage?
I have a shed out back that we have deemed the serial killer shed because it looks like it's something straight up out of Dexter. This shed that I'm in right now has been in this location, literally in the same spot, since the late 1800s, and very surprised it is actually still standing. But it's original like 2x4s, like when they're actually 2x4,
Mm,
versus the smaller versions that they are now. And so I kind of just set up a wall in the back because Abe said it looked more professional to have that than just my shed in the background. And in fact, if you watch the original videos, you'll see the shed that I'm sitting in. But yeah, my wife would never let me smoke in the house. Totally understand that. So just I primarily sit in my shed and I'll have a cigar, do some work if I'm working, and do editing out here with a cigar. Or if I have friends come over, I open the doors right over here and have a few buddies in.
nice. Now, this is kind of backtracking a little bit, but it's definitely worth talking about. So you got Dennis Prager on your show, which that's pretty major. He's very he's a big time,
Thank you.
conservative commentator and all that, and he loves cigars. And like, how was that experience, like interviewing Dennis Prager? I saw that show, and actually, I ended up, winning. With that, I was at work and I had the volume low. I was just commenting. I ended up winning, and Kevin Shea had told me about that. So, and that was definitely an awesome interview. You see, he's very down to earth for how known he is. Like, so how was that experience for you?
So that was actually awesome. So I reached out to him for about a week, emailing him, just changing the subject heading. And I think eventually I got through to his wife's email. And then, because I think his wife plays a little bit of a buffer on some
Hmm.
of his email, because I'm sure he gets tens of thousands a day, you
Yeah.
know? And so he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd love to come on." He's like, I'll give you 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh, my show's at least an hour. Shoot. Like,
Yeah.
do I line somebody else up? And went back and forth. And when he finally came on in the green room, I was like, okay, so you said we have 30 minutes. Is that a hard 30? He's like, no, you can keep going. Well, it'll be fine. I'm like, all right, cool. So I made sure to not like push that limit because I'd love to have him back on. He's very fascinating, great guy to talk to, and honestly, super, super nice. Um, hour and 15 minutes, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, we're going to end the show now, just because I didn't want to push that line, push that boundary. But if you're listening to it, you'll hear like a groan or like a throughout the entire show. His dog is snoring at his feet throughout the entire show. So many people are like, "Are you breathing into the mic?" I'm like, "No, no, that's his dog. That's his dog."
Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's awesome that, so early in the game you got somebody so big. Like the biggest person I've had on my show was Shorty from Pit Boss, Shorty Rossi. And I actually met him before, like in Orlando. Him and Jonathan Drew invited me to hang out with them. This is before I was shirtless Mike. This was like 2014. Like, nobody knew who I was yet. So like the fact that they were that cool, I was like, you know what? I need that now that I have a platform. I need to have Shorty on, and he came through, and and it was just an awesome time, man.
Yeah, no, I've reached out. I've got, like I said, I've got a lot of fun things lined up for the show. I'm in talks with several different celebrities right now that are in the cigar world and that are just celebrities themselves. Talking with their assistants, and just trying to get some of these people scheduled on. I'm looking at hopefully next year I should be able to actually have a little bit more of that Prager style celebrity, even a little bit bigger, a little bit more well known. So yeah, it's fun. Just having the Prager interview has given me the ability, though, to be able to reach out to some of these people and be like, "Hey, Dennis Prager came on. Like, why don't you just come on too?" And it's so that's been kind of fun.
Oh yeah. Now, what else do you have, lined up other than like big celebs, for the future? Like, what do you got planned? Anything big planned or whatever? I know you said you're kind of tweaking your show a little bit, and you know, probably gonna do less reviews and all that. Like, anything interesting you got?
Well, back up on the big celebs. I don't have any of the big celebs lined up, but I'm hoping to get some small ones that should be like, I don't work very often, but people will know me, type of people to come on. But as far as what I do for my show, you and I talked a little bit, and since I have a daughter, if I have to slow down on something, because I do eight reviews a month, and I do 12 shows a month. You know, if I have to cut down on something, it would be cutting down on one of the reviews per week instead of two reviews per week. Just because they're time consuming. You know this, like you
Oh
cigar
yeah.
takes hour, 2 hours, depending on the length, 3 hours to
Hmm.
smoke, and then you've got hour worth of editing, depending on what you're trying to do in the show, and depending on how much you got to edit down. And it's a lot of time. Each show is, 4 hours, start to finish potentially, and so it just consumes a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, anything you want to plug real quick? I'm gonna go ahead and end the show at this point. I usually keep it like an hour, just under that. So, anything you want to plug or anything, shouts out to anybody, all that good stuff.
Yes. Anyone that's watching this show, thank you so much for watching. And while you're watching it, please do me a favor. Go right over to YouTube. If you're not already there, go to Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Please click subscribe. I've got guests lined up throughout the rest of the year, including Steve Saka, Matt Booth, Willie Herrera. So you're not going to want to miss anything. And if you're watching this show because of me and you don't already subscribe to Shirtless Mike, go ahead and click subscribe on his channel as well. He does great content. And pretty soon you'll get into Shirted Mike season, which is a completely different show than Shirtless Mike season. So But no, thank you so much, Mike, for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. It's been fun getting to know you, and looking forward to at some point in time being shirtless with you on the beach having a cigar.
Absolutely. Oh, and before we get off of here, though, I do want to make my announcement because, I'll go ahead and make it on the show. So next week, okay, so at my job at Smoke Ring 72, we're having a Perdomo event, and so Nick and his son Nicholas will be at the shop. And so 2 days prior to the event, this event's going to be on a Thursday, the 30th. So on the 28th, I got Nicholas Perdomo. He's coming on my show, and it's going to be an awesome. It's going to be an awesome show. Nick's got an event or whatever going on that night, so Nicholas will be on, and we're gonna get a cool interview. I'm actually gonna have notes for that because there's so much stuff that I gotta ask, and it's gonna be more formatted and everything, and it's gonna be it's a classic Herf Zone Live type stuff. But everybody that tuned in tonight, thank you guys so much. And make sure you subscribe to Ryan's channel, Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Team Shirtless Mike. And I will let you know when we're not live. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night and peace out.